All right, I'm back. I'm back. So, this is the illusion reporting from somewhere on brick ship, spaceship, Earth. I don't know yet. I don't know where I'm going to upload this. This might be members only brick ship and regular on my regular YouTube. I'm not sure, but members only brick ship, right? So I was talking about how could we have gone backwards so far from the 9/11 event, right? When you would think that everybody who raised their kid or child post that event would have instilled them with a less polarized perspective. Because in my life, and again, is I know this is weird to come from, but in my life, when I in that time, if I look at my life at the turn of the century, there was no big grim disharmony of people. Sure, there was stuff going on. I think that's the weird thing, is everyone thinks that like there wasn't lame stuff going on. Absolutely there was. But what I mean is we were unified on a certain level. Maybe that's what the big event was all about, was breaking up the unity. I don't really understand how we went from the totally like come together moment time frame after the big event to this 23 years later. I don't really understand how we got here. And again, I hadn't really like applied that event to sort of a narrative in that sense. I don't know if I guess like I said, I hadn't really thought about it that way. Like 9/11 was always sort of a truther event. Post 9/11, and now I wonder like how the boat got missed so radically. Like I don't quite understand how everybody's bought into the polarization, right? Like either there's like, so it doesn't matter which way you spin the big event, right? Either like it's the ultimate like conspiracy of evildoer overseers, or it's just a straight attack by crazy psychopathic evil people, right? That wanted to seek out retribution on the US, right? Doesn't really matter which way you slice that bread. The end result should be the same, that we would want to come together as a nation, not to fulfill any other thing except just to come together. And so I go, the adults that were in the country at that time, and I being one of them, because in I must have been, 69, 99, so 32 years old, right? like that confirmed me as a non-warmonger. I never bought into any of that insanity. And maybe that was the trick, right? Once they got everybody to sort of sell their soul with Iraq and Afghanistan, right? Like we wrote it because I was busy just being like an alcoholic during that phase. So maybe I just missed the contract. Maybe I missed the signing of the contract where the people of America said, you know what, we're gonna for no real reason, we're just gonna start blowing up countries and like putting to death millions upon millions of people, millions maybe, yeah, probably in the end. And it's going to be okay because we're doing it in the name of combating terrorism. I mean, that's the hype, right? Like, we're going to stop the terrorist thing. And maybe that was like the contract that was signed, which has led us into the psychoness that is the present day, right? Because I've been sort of tripped out of like how it's gotten so crazy. I don't really like get it in that sense. Like as a person who's pretty like fair on the judge a book by its the content of character and all that kind of stuff, dude. I don't get where it's gotten. Like, I think that's where, like, I just sort of scratch my head. Like, I don't get how it got all crazy. But now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, like, you take a moment that ultimately displays the worst and the best of humanity at once, right? Like, I was watching that footage from that documentary filmmaker following Battalion 1 into the thing, dude, with Chief Pfeiffer and the whole deal. And I was like tripping out on how calm those dudes are. Like seriously, like cool cucumbers, man. Even when the first building falls down, those dudes are like as calm as can be, right? Wait, I'm missing something. Oh, okay. And so, and we look at it now as like, how has everybody lost their mind? Like, how has everybody lost their mind right now? Like to actually buy into this weird shenanigan that's going on right now. And now that that's why I needed to make this video is because I kind of see it as like, okay, like, yeah, if you were an adult after that big event and you had children, and whether they were little ones or teens or whatever, or, adolescents, and you got behind the rebelizing of Iraq and Afghanistan because they lied to you about it, and you didn't put your foot down and be like I've always been anti-war, dude. Like I didn't buy into any of that stuff, dude. I remember just being like, this is a bad idea, dude. Like, why would we, what? And so here we are. I don't know, man. Maybe now that I'm thinking about it, I do remember watching the invasion of Iraq, like live on TV, dude. That's how sick it was. Like, we watched the invasion of Iraq like scheduled programming. Scheduled programming. And that was like that's how sick we had begotten. They took that moment of like utter horror at the debauchery of humanity, and at the same time the utter beauty of humanity coming together and rallying for each other, to turn it into like, we're gonna go like prime time. And now that I think about it, I remember the bloodlust of America, like after a while. Like, America was like, yeah, let's go get them, dude. So, right, we had the moment, the moment was there to teach the children to not be warmongers, and instead we did exponential like destruction suffering on people that ultimately had nothing to do with it, right? Like, if you take the thing and let's say, for the sake of conversation, that all those people in all those office buildings working for those somewhat questionable corporations, we're all just innocent that day, right? Just civilians. And guaranteed the firemen were. So like that alone, and the janitors and all those kind of people, for sure, dude. The secretaries, I don't know, man. Like, the concept of civilians has definitely been wiped off the map with Gaza. There are no civilians anymore, are there? We're back to like the utter barbarism of unleashed war, right? There's no civilians anymore. There's no civilians in Gaza, right? They're all the Hamas. So I wonder, I go, did we not as a nation ultimately seal our children's fate when we did warmongering on people? Because if you look at like Iraq and Afghanistan, yeah, you could say there's like a bunch of donkeys running the show and baddie bads and the whole thing. But at the end, who took the brunt of all of that bombing and destruction? It was women and children, right? Like, even on 9/11, it wasn't like there was like a daycare center at the top of the buildings, right? It was pretty. And again, I'm not coming from it from a truther thing. I'm just like, take the story at face value type of thing, right? And so I'm sitting here and I'm asking myself, like, is that where you get the woke generation? It's not because of propaganda and this and that. It's because we had a chance to metaphysically show the children the difference between right and wrong. And when push came to shove, we reverted back to just kill them all, right? Kill them all, dude. Yeah, rah, rah. Like again, like, you look at the garbage that came out of the post big event world, the Patriot Act and all these things. And you really go like we did just sell ourselves out to the military industrial complex after that event. We didn't use it as a moment to like gut check our reality and be like, this needs to stop. We got to stop behaving like this as human beings. We didn't do that, did we? We were like, no, dude, we need more of this. And so our children, who are now 20-something, were shown our hypocrisy, that it doesn't matter, that there's never going to be a moment where humanity truly stops and self-reflects and takes any sort of responsibility for themselves. It's just going to be on to the next, right? And so I think you know, that there's a certain weird thing we've done to ourselves. And here we are, we're not pulling back from the abyss, we're digging in, and the way we're digging in is thinking that the girl from California or the orange man are gonna save us, dude. And they can't save us because America's chosen to greenlight barbarism, dude. We are financing 2,000-pound bombs being dropped on schools, dude. Isn't that the thing? Isn't that the latest? Like 3 2,000-pound bombs dropped on some school over there in Gaza? Like, what? We didn't learn anything? Like we didn't learn anything from what happened that day, that September day. We didn't learn anything. We didn't learn how horrifying that is, and be like, therefore we wouldn't want to do that to other human beings, except our response to that event ultimately was to inflict that on an even worse level on human beings. Like what the United States did to a place like Iraq is makes the events of that day look insignificant on a level. And so I sit here and I'm like, is the woke thing just a response by a generation that was raised in a consciousness of perpetuating the evil of humanity, and their response is just to like give up because humanity's because their parents proved to them that they didn't have the greater principles at the core of their being. That they wanted to continue the circle of pain. Like they didn't want it to stop. They didn't look at the horror that was inflicted upon them that day and be like, this needs to stop. Like, seriously, like, this needs to stop. We can't do this anymore. There wasn't that sort of a, like, gut check. And so we wonder why all these young adults are broken, man. And maybe it's not the institutions. Maybe that's where everybody's bought into the hustle. It's not the institutions. It was the adults that turned their back on a moment to stop the chain of pain and instead doubled down. And here we are 20 years later, and there's no way out of it because we had the moment to get out of it. Instead, we chose more of it. I don't know, man. That's what I'm thinking, dude. I'm going to end this video here, dude. This is The Illusion. Links down below. Join, become a member, all that good stuff. And if you're watching this video, the members got it like a day before. So I'd be stoked if you joined. Anyway, be kind to each other. Use the name tags, dude. Let's stop this. Maybe it's too late. I don't know.